Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is at a deciding moment. We are in the middle of playing out both of these fractals here on the Bitcoin chart that I've taken from previous price history that I will be explaining in this video. And once again, we are now at a fork in the road for the Bitcoin price. So in this video, I will be explaining exactly what this means for Bitcoin, and I'll also be explaining my next Bitcoin price targets and some important levels to pay attention to. And I'll also be taking another look at the Bitcoin funding rates on exchanges, because this was one of the key indicators that helped me predict that massive short squeeze 2 days before it actually happened. But just before we jump into it, make sure to drop a like on the video down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so that you're not missing out on any of these future videos. And the channel is slowly getting closer to 50,000 subscribers, which is crazy. I can't thank you guys enough, but you guys can help us get there even faster if you're sharing these videos around with your friends, because right now we are entering into an amazing opportunity. No matter what fractal just here actually ends up playing out, we are still in a time of opportunity. There's never been a better time to share these videos around with your friends, and there's never been a better time to stay active in these markets. But anyway, with all of that out of the way, let's get straight to what this video is about. So right here, we're on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the 1 day chart. And as you can see just here, we have seen quite some bullish price action over the past 8 days. In fact, we have seen 8 daily candles close green in a row, which is not actually something that happens too often for Bitcoin. Even during a bull market, we don't normally see that very often. That is actually pretty rare to see. And in fact, the most amount of consecutive green days that we have gone in Bitcoin's entire price history is actually 10 days in a row, 10 green candle closes in a row on the daily chart. That was actually a few years ago. And once again, that is the longest that we have gone with consecutive green daily candles. So right here, we are actually expecting another red daily candle sometime soon. This could be it, this daily candle right now. But yeah, basically over the past 2 days on the channel, I have been talking about that Bitcoin is actually due for a bit of a cool off here in the short term. I would actually be very surprised if Bitcoin continues straight to the upside here over the next 1 to 2 days, in the immediate short term, because once again, I am expecting some short-term cool off here. And that's exactly what we've seen over the past 1 to 2 days as expected so far. But obviously, as you can see just here, the Bitcoin price, even after this bullish price action over the past 1 week approximately, we have still not escaped this massive price range here for Bitcoin. This is, by the way, talking between roughly around 40,000 to 30,000 US dollars, give or take. Bitcoin has been within this price range for the past 2 months. And I've been explaining almost every single day here on the channel, as soon as we break above 42,000 with strong confirmation, I will flip very bullish on Bitcoin, because that would mean that the Bitcoin price is flipping into a major daily uptrend here. But of course, if we see a confirmed break below 30,000 that I was mentioning, in that case, I would actually flip more bearish on Bitcoin going over the next few weeks and months. But until we see one of those levels on the charts actually break, there's really no reason to be overly bullish or overly bearish. Of course, in the immediate short term, when you're looking at the 4-hour chart, when you're looking at the 2-hour chart, we can be really bullish on these smaller timeframes here, because of course, timeframes always give us different perspectives. So for example, right down here at approximately 32 to 33,000, when I was calling the short squeeze ahead of time, I was actually flipping really bullish on Bitcoin in the short term when we were at around 32 to 33,000, once again, right before that massive pump. But yeah, as you can see, once again, on the daily time frame, pretty much over the past 2 months, we have basically just head sideways. And keep in mind as well that we are still currently below this moving average right here. This moving average right here is the 21-week moving average. The reason why I've chosen a length of 21 is because that is a Fibonacci number, and Bitcoin likes to respect the Fibonacci numbers on the chart. But not only for that reason, as you can see just here, when we're zooming out, the Bitcoin price has heavily respected this exact moving average previously. For example, in the 2017 bull run, we saw these major weekly corrections into the 21-week moving average, and every single correction saw a perfect bounce along that moving average, as you can see. But keep in mind, the reason why Bitcoin didn't go below that moving average is simply because of how many corrections we actually got. The more corrections that Bitcoin sees, the more common the corrections are, the smaller those corrections will actually be. So that's exactly why the 21-week moving average was not broken throughout 2017 back there, as you can see. It's because of how common the corrections were during that bull market. But going over to the current bull market, we've pretty much just head straight to the upside, no major correction at all, until about 2 months ago, when of course we saw that massive crash around 2 months ago. That was the first major correction for this entire bull market. Of course, you could take take a look at the January correction, you know, that was a decent correction there. But considering the overall bullishness over the past 12 months approximately, the downside price action that we saw around 2 months ago there was simply just a reaction to how bullish we were to the upside during that year before the crash once again. So if anything, it would not have made sense if Bitcoin actually held that 21-week moving average, because once again, that would mean that we are seeing less corrections, even though we are only having these smaller corrections and still holding this moving average like last time. So one perspective is that you could think of this crash just here, this major correction in the crypto markets over the past 2 months, is kind of like a whole bunch of corrections joined together, if that makes sense. Because for example, in 2017, if we grouped these corrections together where we saw less corrections overall, but the corrections that we did end up seeing, if they were just simply worse, but we saw less corrections, then that would look a little bit like what we are seeing right now. But yeah, I've mentioned a few times over the past few weeks here that this price action during this area on the chart right here over the past 2 months actually reminds me heavily of the price action during this area on the chart right here. By the way, that's ranging between the end of September 2019 up until around January 2020. Of course, we had a major bullish move to the upside leading into that price action, and then we broke below the 21-week moving average, saw a major capitulation to the downside, and then we saw quite a bit of sideways price action after that. We did have that massive pump in the middle of this overall bearish price action due to the actual news that was being released at that time just there. On that day where Bitcoin pumped around 30 to 40% in a single day right there, that was actually when China released some really bullish news on blockchain, basically just being bullish on blockchain and talking about their central bank digital currency, that sort of thing. And so that pumped the Bitcoin price heavily to the upside. But as you can see, we never really got a proper break above the 21-week moving average. We saw actually a perfect rejection along that moving average, and that sent the Bitcoin price back to the downside towards the previous lows just here, and actually a little bit lower. So what we can do is basically take a look at the price action that happened just there and map it out on the current day price action to see if it matches up to the price action that we have recently experienced. So copying these candlesticks right here during that entire time period, once again, taking it over to the current day, as you can see just here, this becomes very interesting when I'm overlaying it to the current price, because as you can see right here, things are looking quite similar already. For quite a few weeks here, we saw some sideways price action and then one more dip to the downside before a massive move to the upside, exactly like what we saw in 2019. And then we actually saw quite a significant pullback down towards the previous lows and actually slightly lower than the previous lows. But even though in the immediate short term, sure, that was a little bit bearish there for Bitcoin. Once again, if you're simply keeping a longer term perspective and using that as a buying opportunity back in 2019, of course, the Bitcoin price recovered since then. So this is really the bearish scenario if we cannot get above 42,000 sometime soon. Of course, if we can see a strong break above 42,000, then that's when we can take a look at the bullish scenario. Now, taking a look at the bullish scenario here for Bitcoin, we're going to measure out the candlesticks from after we saw that dump right there, just to see if this actually matches up with the current price action. Let's take a look. Let's bring this over to the current day. So as you can see, this is basically the second half of this red price action just here. But if we're actually starting this already from the current price action, as you can see right here, using this, we are seeing something that potentially could play out a little bit different. As you can see right here, we did actually see these exact lows. Taking a look at the previous price history right here, we did actually follow the exact lows that we formed back in 2019 right here. As you can see, we formed a low, came back up, some sideways price action, came back down for another low just here. And then we finally started flipping more bullish after that final low just there. But yeah, just quickly getting rid of that red price action out of the way. So we're focusing on the green right here. If we're actually moving this to the beginning of this consolidation area and actually dragging out this price, as you can see right here, to actually fit what's happened more recently, to actually fit in with the current price action, as you can see right here, once again, we have seen the initial capitulation to the downside, and then we came back up in this automatic reaction, and then sideways price action came back down for a lower low. And by the way, that low right there in the middle of this price range was actually the lowest of the lows for both the current price history and the price action back in 2019. Came back to the upside, some sideways price action, came back down for one last low, but that final low in both the current price action and also back in 2019 was actually higher than that middle low just there. And then also back in 2019, we saw a massive pump to the upside, just as we are seeing right now in the Bitcoin price. And as you can see right here, if this continues to play out the bullish scenario just here, that would suggest a potential break above 42,000. Once again, that is really the level that I am paying attention to here. And once again, this price action actually suggests that we could find some resistance along the 21-week moving average, which could lead into a short-term rejection along that level, which could actually lead into a short-term retest of the $42,000 to $40,000 level just here, which is something that we'll need to confirm the breakout to the upside. And seriously, if we can hold above those levels just there, hold above that red range of resistance, then that is exactly when we will continue to see this bullish scenario play out. And honestly, I would actually expect prices like 50 to 60,000 US dollars within the next 1 to 2 months after we see a break above 42,000. So that's why I am saying that right now we are actually in a bit of a deciding moment here for Bitcoin. It can actually take a couple weeks for Bitcoin to decide on what path we're about to take. And this is also displayed over here in the funding rates. As you can see right here in the Bitcoin funding rates, these are looking very neutral at the moment. They're either very slightly positive or very slightly negative, as you can see just here, which also tells us that there's a lot of indecision in the overall crypto markets right now. The majority out there aren't really bullish and the majority out there aren't really bearish. It's a pretty even match between the bulls and the bears at the current price levels. And of course, one of the main reasons why I pay attention to the funding rate is to pay attention to things like long squeezes and short squeezes, because close to a week ago now, when the funding rates were incredibly negative, when Bitcoin was at roughly around 32 to 33,000 once again, this was one of the major reasons that I was telling you guys in my videos close to a week ago now that we are about to see a short squeeze roughly around 2 days before the short squeeze actually happened. By the way, if you want to get some extra important updates and extra content throughout the day, then definitely check out my Twitter. The link to my Twitter is in the description down below if you want to stay updated at all times in the market. But anyway, that's just about everything I have to say for this video. I hope you enjoyed the video and I hope you got something valuable out of this video that can help you make some money in the crypto markets. And if you did, be sure to drop a like on the video down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on for more videos like this one. And once again, be sure to share these videos around with your friends, because right now we are actually entering an amazing opportunity regardless of the outcome for this fractal right here. Even in the worst case scenario, if we do play out any sort of bearish scenario just here, once again, I would consider that as a buying opportunity for the longer term. So as I said in the intro of the video, there's never been a better time to share these videos around with your friends, because you don't want to be sharing these videos around with your friends when we're at all-time highs, because that there is when the opportunity has already passed. Right now, we are in the opportunity. But anyway, that's just about everything I have to say for this video. Once again, I really hope you enjoyed it and I'll see you all in the next video.